bang. What is good? What is happening, everyone? It's your boy, Fares Muthana, and welcome to the final episode of our Australian Open recap show on the rally. It is me, and it is the Pandora's box of tennis knowledge. Adelia, how are you?
I don't know that I'd go that far, but I do enjoy watching the tennis, and I really enjoyed watching this tournament.
Yes. So, guys, like I said before, when we were recapping the quarterfinal matchups, we won't be having a show talking about the semifinals. We'll recap the semifinals and the finals all together on one giant show, and that's what we're gonna do, right? So we're gonna right after the bat, we're gonna talk about the biggest semifinal out of all the semifinals, men or women. I think I can say this without a shadow of doubt. This one was the biggest one. Jannik Sinner defeated Novak Djokovic in 4 sets. 6-1, 6-2, 7-6 Djokovic, 6-3 Sinner. So let's get right on to the side of the men's side before we talk about the utter domination of Aryna Sabalenka. Let's talk about on the men's side. Jannik Sinner doing something that hasn't been done in the last.
It hasn't been done ever.
Ever?
It hasn't been done ever.
Ever.
No one had beaten Djokovic in an Australian Open semifinal or a final, for that matter, before this, and now that has happened. Jannik Sinner came out, and I was immediately struck watching this match at how much Djokovic did not look like Djokovic.
No,
he looked.
No, he didn't.
He looked slow. He looked unhappy. He looked nothing like the Djokovic we usually see in a semifinal or a final in Melbourne. And Sinner just took it from him. I mean, I know Djokovic took that tiebreak in the third set, but Sinner's like, okay, I'll just win the next set. And goes out there and wins the next set. Broke Djokovic in the fourth set when Djokovic was 40-love up. Yep. It was impressive as hell.
Did not give Djokovic a single break point.
No.
We thought
no break points for Djokovic.
We thought that Taylor Fritz making Djokovic go 0 for 15 on break points was impressive.
Yeah.
Jannik Sinner didn't even give him a break point.
This is the first completed Grand Slam match that Djokovic has played where he never created a break point.
0 for 0. And that was the key deal. While we were watching this match, it was I think me and you talked about how like Djokovic played first time he was playing in the day. So
it wasn't the first time he was playing in the day, but he doesn't like playing in the day. He prefers to play at night. And they put him on day sessions. Like, I really would have thought they would have put Djokovic Sinner as the night session match.
I thought so too. I generally thought so as well. Could that have been the key? Could that have been a factor in why Djokovic didn't look good?
I think it could be possibly a factor. I mean, he was sick earlier in the tournament. The temperatures, warmer during the day, not as much nice to play in as they are at night when it cools off. Could age possibly have something to do with this? Age finally catching up with Djokovic. I mean, he is 36 years, almost 37 years old now.
It's caught up to the other. It caught up to the other two.
Caught up to the other two. Federer, of course, retired now. Rafa not really able to play all that much anymore.
He has no knees.
But I don't know what happened in this match. I'm so befuddled by this match. Like, I can't believe I actually witnessed this match. Like, all credit to Jannik Sinner.
All credit. Adelia, I think me and you were talking. I think we were talking about this off screen in our Discord. By the way, if you want to join our Discord and talk to us about some tennis, go to patreon.com/LGR_network. All you need to do is $1 and you're in the Patreon. You're in the Discord. But personally, I'm not. I know it is the Patreon that I am promoting, but guys, you want the bang for your buck? $15 tier. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Trust me, you get a buttload of stuff, and we'll do it. But yeah, Adelia, like I think we said when I talked about you talking in our Discord, where I said sometimes in sports, greatness just nosedives. Like you look perfectly good one year, then the following year you're done. You're done. I go to them, for my American football fans that are probably watching this, or if you aren't, American football, the one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time was name is Tom Brady. He just retired last year, but 2 years ago he looked great. He looked phenomenal. He looked good. In his last year in the NFL, his last year playing a sport, he looked every bit of a 45-year-old man playing a sport, and he nosedived. He did not play well. His team didn't play well. He didn't play well. And I think that's going to happen. Like, no one gracefully ages in sports. Sports you out. You know what I mean? Like, people talk about, like, shout out to Pete Sampras. He had that great 2002 US Open victory, then he retired. That was magic. But he knew, I'm going to leave on top before the sport takes me out.
Yeah.
Could he have played one more season? Could he have played in 03? Probably, but not to the level of Pete Sampras. You know what I mean? Sports does not allow you to age gracefully. You're not allowed to retire on top. Every great player has that moment where they're like, I still have one more year in me. And they do that one more year, and everyone is like, why are you here? This is disgusting. Am I saying that's happening to Djokovic? No, not yet. But there's a possibility. We'll see him in the upcoming tournaments, see if he still has the same vigor and the same dominance he has. Because, there's 3 more majors. He's phenomenal in Wimbledon. He's tied with the most Wimbledon titles with Roger, looking to break that this year. We'll see if he tries to break that while Alcaraz tries to defend. He is the defending French Open champion. And he is the defending US Open champion. Yes. So he won 3 of the 4 majors last year. So this year, could he do the same? We'll see. Season's still long. Tennis is a long season. I think this was more about Jannik Sinner taking advantage of the moment because of the sickness, because of the day session, and the game plan. Jannik Sinner, I think Adelia, you were watching it. He emphasized the wide serve.
The wide serve worked very well for him in this match.
Yes, and speaking of that, 9 aces. Some of them were on the wide. I think most of them were on the wide serve. 9 of the aces. He had his first double fault. He had his first double fault, Adelia, in the 3rd set.
He served incredibly well.
Yes. And speaking, Adelia.
I was going to go back to your point about slowing down and everything. John Wertheim, I think it was, who tweeted it out. With great athletes, it's not the first thing that isn't your speed. It isn't your mental focus. It's your consistency. And I sort of feel like that's what we saw out of Djokovic in the semifinal, is shots that he has made a million times were flying out.
Yes, absolutely. Because I remember it was in the early parts of the Taylor Fritz match. He was missing shots that I'm like, you should hit that. And then he started hitting them in the later part of the Fritz match where I'm like, Adelia, he's on. Fritz is in danger. And guess what he did to Taylor Fritz? He took him out. But in this match, Jannik Sinner just took advantage of the early mistakes by Djokovic and just kept pouring it on him because, Adelia, let's look at the stats here. 54 unforced errors. 54. 28 to Sinner. The winners category was 32-31 in Djokovic, but 54 unforced errors. A lot of points. That looks like Adelia. That looks like a Djokovic match in reverse.
It does.
His opponent would have the 50 errors, and he wouldn't have the errors. And Jannik Sinner, man, since that day he threw up in that trash can in Beijing, decided to become the greatest tennis player on planet Earth, losing 1 game in his span from, I believe, last year to this year. Jannik Sinner There's been a lot of parallels drawn to Roger Federer, right, Adelia? Shout out to Bastion. Shout out to Bastion. Shout out to you, my man. One day you should be on the show, Bastion. But that day will come one day. Roger Federer took him 17 times to get his first major. Jannik Sinner, 17th time, got his first major. He's also being compared to a fiery Spaniard who was a wonderkind teen phenom who had 2 majors by the age of 20. In Roger's case, Rafa Nadal. And Jannik Sinner's case, Carlos Alcaraz. Could we be having a rejuvenation, a renaissance, a recalibration of things? Absolutely, probably, maybe, I don't know. But he's 22. He has a million years ahead of him. Wishing him a healthy career, but Jannik Sinner's here to stay.
Jannik Sinner's
here to stay.
Yeah. Jannik Sinner announced himself on the big time stage in this tournament. And it's not that he hadn't already announced himself, but this is everybody knows Jannik Sinner now.
He was known as the other guy in the marathon match with Carlos Alcaraz at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, because Alcaraz broke through and won the tournament first.
Exactly. He was the other guy. But now, Jannik Sinner's like, I did something 10 people couldn't do previously. This man was undefeated in semifinals at Rod Laver Arena. And every time he went to the semifinals, it was a guaranteed final appearance. Now he's 10-1.
Not even a guaranteed final appearance, a guaranteed victory.
Yep, 10 for 10. 10 for 10. I believe that's the most Australian Opens ever.
It's the most 10? Australian Opens ever, yeah.
Yep. So this is his French Open. And Novak Djokovic, with Rafa, he has 13 French Opens. Trying to beat Rafa on Châtier is like trying to fight a lion for a last piece of meat.
It's happened. It's happened, but yeah, more oftentimes than not, Rafael Nadal's going to win that match.
It has happened?
He's been beaten at Roland Garros. It has.
No, but on center court with Châtier?
Yeah.
Semifinal? Châtier?
Yeah. He's never lost in a French Open final, but he has lost in the semifinals. Djokovic.
So I've been lied to.
I don't know that you've been lied to. I think you just didn't know the true stat.
I think I misread the tweet. I think they were talking about the final then. Because the tweet was
he's never been beaten in a French Open final.
Yeah,
he has lost in the semifinals to Djokovic.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because he told me, because the tweet was like he's undefeated on Châtrier. And I'm like, okay, that's dope. I think they're probably giving a reference to the final. He's undefeated on the final because, if he's what? I
can't imagine they would have put that Djokovic and Nadal semifinal on Longland, which is the second court. So I don't think that he's definitely not undefeated on Châtrier because he lost to Soderling on Châtrier before. Yeah. But yeah.
So he's what, 13-2?
13-3, I think.
3? Okay. Yeah, okay. 13. It's still 13 French Opens.
13 French Opens is insane. 10 Australian Opens is insane.
It's insane as well. Because, Australian Open used to be an outdoor grass tournament. Then it transformed into a hard court outdoor tournament. So, there's been a lot of history there. But yeah, man, now let's talk about the other, nothing more much to say. It was just gobsmacking. I'm watching.
It was surprising.
Adelia, seeing 6-1 Sinner in the first set, then seeing 6-2 Sinner in the second set, I'm like, what am I watching right now?
He actually blew some chances to win that in straight sets too, so it was really good of him to win that in the fourth set, because I do wonder if that had gone to a fifth set, if Novak wouldn't have found a way to pull it out somehow.
He had match point, Adelia. He had match point. He had match point more. I think more than once. I think he had 2 match points.
He had 1 match point for sure in the third set tiebreak, and then Djokovic basically shut things down. And then another hour went by before his next match point, and he took that in the fourth set.
Exactly, and I was my mind was just exploded. I was like, what did I watch? But another match that almost made my brain explode was the other men's semifinals. Number 3 in the world, Daniil Medvedev, beating number 6 in the world, Sasha Zverev. After Sasha Zverev was up 2-0 in And Daniil
I
Medvedev,
was very unhappy at the beginning of this match.
I think a lot of people were very unhappy at the beginning of this match because, let's talk about it. Sasha Zverev has a court appearance, I believe, during the French Open
During the French Open.
He will be allowed to play that, but the court will be happening in Germany. He has been accused by more than, I think, two women or multiple women.
Two ex-girlfriends, one of which is the mother of his daughter. That's the one he's going to court over.
Yes. Of domestic abuse and assault. So there's that, and I'm gonna call him out. Patrick Mouratoglou, you're an imbecile. All right, yeah, I'm gonna say it. I don't care. You're an imbecile. All right, talking about how this man is, one word to describe Sasha Zverev is resilient. You're a moron. But I digress on me, insulting your intelligence because I'm gonna keep doing it because you're an idiot. And I'm gonna call you a dipshit more than once in this next 2 minutes because he's not resilient. He blew a 2-set lead and he couldn't close out the deal. And good. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm not gonna hide my joy in watching him choke away his probably was probably going to be his second biggest moment in his career, besides making the U.S. Open final in 2020, losing to Dominic Thiem. Thank you very much, Dominic. We appreciate you. He choked. He has no mental fortitude. He blew his chance. He lost. He's a loser. Thank the Lord. Adelia, your thoughts?
I'm really glad Daniil Medvedev won this match.
Yes.
Sasha Zverev was serving unbelievably well in the quarterfinal against Alcaraz, and he sort of carried that into the beginning of this match. He and Medvedev played some amazing rallies. I think there was a 51-shot rally at one point in this match.
Yes.
The thing with Sasha Zverev is that all the stuff to dislike about him is the off-the-court stuff.
Nothing
on the court, he's a phenomenal tennis player.
Tremendous.
And I just think that he shouldn't be playing.
No, he shouldn't.
State that right now. The fact that he's playing with this hanging over, him right now is ridiculous. But if he is going to play, then I do appreciate him choking and blowing a huge lead in the semifinals of a Grand Slam, because that's enjoyable to me.
And Daniil Medvedev, you want to talk about fighting, right? Just fighting tooth and nail for everything. So I'll talk about a stat when we talk about the final where him and Jannik Sinner, but I'm going to talk about a crazy stat that I saw when they were playing is winning back-to-back tiebreakers, like tooth and nail, and just in the fifth set, instead of just saying, you know what, I'm just going to take it. I've broken this man. I've broken him because he thought he was going to win. Now it's 2-2. And I enjoy a fifth set where the person who comes back takes all the momentum and just takes the opponent's soul and say, I'm going to crush you. And he did. He beat him 6-3. No doubt. No tiebreaker. No, oh my God, is he going to lose? He just took it from him. And that's because, to fast forward to the final, Adelia, they were talking about how, I think someone on Twitter said Daniil Medvedev shouldn't be here. He not.
He had two sets to love comebacks to get to the final.
Yes,
it's insane.
No, I'm not even just talking about that. I'm talking about overall in tennis. So people project him to be like a good tennis player. He's gonna be cool. He's gonna be in majors. Is he gonna win something? Maybe not. I don't know. Not really. Who cares? And him changing the narrative, saying like, no, I can win. I am a Grand Slam champion. I have a Grand Slam under my belt. And him basically fighting against the projection. And him he was the number one player in the world at one point. He's number 3 in the world at one point. He did, let's kind of move forward to the final, Adelia. Heartbreak struck him again.
Daniil Medvedev, unfortunately, is the only person in the Open era, I don't know about prior to the Open era, but definitely in the Open era, to lose a Grand Slam final after being 2-0 up.
Twice.
And he's done it twice.
Done it twice. And I feel for the dude. I genuinely
Yeah.
feel for him. He seems like a nice guy. Just
And not just twice as well, but twice on that same court. Because that is also where Rafa came back from 2-0 down in 2022 to beat him.
Yeah.
I think Daniil Medvedev is a fantastic tennis player. I don't particularly, he's not one of my favorites or anything like that, but I did just sort of, my heart broke for him. You could tell he was very emotional when he was giving his speech after the match. But let's focus on Jannik Sinner for a minute.
Oh my God.
Because your first Grand Slam final, you've got to be nervous as hell.
Absolutely.
Go out there. Daniil Medvedev is playing lights out for the first two sets.
Yep.
And you somehow find a way to hang in there. And you get the third set, and you get that fourth set. I mean, he was 2 points away from losing a couple of times, it felt like.
Yeah.
And he persevered, and he pulled it out. And congratulations to Jannik, to Darren Cahill and all of his team. Phenomenal job. He
Former
stayed
Andre
calm.
Agassi coach Darren Cahill.
He is, yes. He stayed calm. He stayed cool. He stayed collected. And, like, that's Jannik Sinner to me now. Like, he's calm. He doesn't overly react to things that are happening in a match. He's gotten mentally tough the way that he wasn't necessarily mentally tough before. And, yeah, I mean, a lot of people are going back to him puking in the trash can in Beijing or Shanghai. I don't remember which one it was. I think it might have been Shanghai.
Someone told me it was Beijing, but you're probably right.
I don't remember which one it was. It was in China.
It was
That's all I remember.
It was China. Yeah.
And he's lost one match, I think, since then.
I thought it was one game.
No. It's not one game. A game is one, game to get on the scoreboard in a match. So it's a match. And then within the match, you have sets. Then within the sets, you have games.
Yes.
So it's one match.
Definitely match, yes.
It's definitely a match. I think that it's just the loss to Djokovic at the World Tour Finals. I think.
Yes.
He's beaten Djokovic 3 times in a span of 72 days, which I don't think anybody's done. And like in big tournaments too.
Yeah, the United Cup or the United Cup?
The Davis Cup.
The Davis Cup. Won it for Italy.
He won it for Italy. He's the MVP of that Italian team for sure. He beat him, I believe, at either Paris-Bercy, the Paris Masters, right before the World Tour Finals, or in the World Tour Finals. I'm not sure which one it is. I can't remember.
He beat him. So he beat him in like the round robin.
Then he beat him in the round robin. That's right. He beat him in the round robin, lost him in the final, and then now he's beaten him in the semifinals here. That's impressive as hell. I'm sorry. So I'll credit to Jannik Sinner for getting through that match against Medvedev. It's a phenomenal match to watch. I recommend everyone watch it. You can rewatch the replay on ESPN Plus. Just phenomenal match. So you just didn't know who was going to win. That was the beauty of this. You didn't know who was going to win. And like you might have favored Medvedev going into this match because Medvedev had won a Grand Slam before, but Daniil Medvedev is like 1-6 in Grand Slam finals now.
Damn.
Which he's lost 3 Grand Slam finals in Australia. I feel for the guy.
3? That was 2.
I think he's lost 3. I think he lost to Djokovic. I think he lost to Nadal, and I think now he's lost to Sinner.
Huh.
I'll double check that. I'll look that up. You talk about the final, Fares. What are your impressions?
It was. I just want to shout out to Papa Darren Cahill, is what they like to call him. As well as the physio, a part of their team, because Jannik Sinner in his marathon match against Carlos Alcaraz, you clearly saw he was uncomfortable. like he wasn't walking right. His
Mhm.
walk, like he looked, he just looked kind of like he was something was physically wrong with his walk as he was walking back. And I think the physio and his team have rebuilt his not rebuilt his body, but re-educated his body on what to do and what not to do. Him fixing the serve, going from platform to pinpoint, kind of shifting it over. Who would have knew, an ESPN commentator could be the secret sauce to winning a Grand Slam final. Coco Gauff took Brad Gilbert, Jannik Sinner took Darren Cahill. What next? Someone's going to take Mary Jo Fernandez. Probably. We'll see
I
one day.
doubt that. I
I'm just
doubt that.
making. I'm just making a joke, Adelia. I
Yeah.
don't. I mean, no,
Mary
coach him
Jo
up, John
Fernandez did
McEnroe.
not have the biggest success as the women's Fed Cup team captain, so I don't think anybody's going to Mary Jo Fernandez to be a coach.
Yo, shout out to Patrick McEnroe. Get over here.
Yannick Daniil Medvedev lost to Djokovic in 2021. He lost to
2021.
Nadal in 2022, and he lost to
Yeah.
Sinner in 2024. So that's
Yeah.
his 3 Australian Open finals. He's also lost in the 2019 U.S. Open final. He lost to Nadal. He beat Djokovic in the 2021 U.S. Open final, and he lost to Djokovic last year in the U.S. Open final. So he's 1-5 in Grand Slam finals.
So he's the Stan Wawrinka of our generation.
I mean, at the moment he is.
Yes.
But he has a long way to go.
Long way to go. Shout out to Stan the man. Looking like my local cabbie, but we'll digress. Shout out to you, Stan.
I want to say that Daniil Medvedev set a record as the person who has played the most sets in a Grand Slam, with playing 31 sets in this Grand Slam. Not all the sets were completed because he did have a retirement in the first match he had against Terence Ottman, but that's a lot of tennis that he just played.
Well, let me tell you the stat that they showed up in the last set in the Jannik Sinner match. They were showing the hours of time on court, Adelia. And Jannik Sinner's hours on court were only 18 hours. He's only been on the court for 18 hours. Medvedev had a full day on court. It was 24 hours on the Australian Open courts. So imagine you're playing tennis a full day. Going from 11. Let's say you start playing tennis at midnight. You're playing tennis from midnight to midnight. Imagine playing, he did have breaks in between, but imagine he has no breaks. It's playing tennis from midnight to midnight. It was a full day on court, a full day, a full day. So that was the stat I thought blew my mind a little.
He had that match on in the second round against Emil Ruusuvuori that ended at 3:40 in the morning. He had some crazy scheduling in the Australian Open this year. So for him to have made the final, I think is a massive achievement. Absolutely. Based on the scheduling and everything he went through. But it just seems like it was Jannik Sinner's time, man. And the one thing that missed out for me with the Jannik Sinner Grand Slam win is the Karada boys were not there.
Yeah, man, heartbreaking. Because
they were very excited back in Italy, but they were not there.
Why didn't they go?
They went for the first week, and then they came home.
Why did they go?
Get that much time off work? I don't know. Yeah. But it's a long flight. I mean, by the time he qualified for the final, they probably wouldn't have gotten to Australia in time to watch the final.
Yeah, you're right. Do you think he knows them? Do you think he knows them by name?
I think he probably knows their names. Yes.
Yeah. So that's him. That's him. Yeah, I know them. Do you think they've ever talked to him?
Well, I'm sure they have.
I think there's a quote that didn't they meet up with him like took photos, I think?
Something. I think. Jannik Sinner also stuck around for the photo shoot the day after he won, and he was wearing a wonderful Gucci cardigan.
Of course. Isn't he a Gucci athlete?
He's a Gucci athlete. The Gucci Twitter account tweeted out, congratulations to the House Ambassador Jannik Sinner.
Wow.
Pope Francis, is that who the Pope is? I don't know who the Pope's
name
is
Pope Francis.
Pope Francis was at the tennis club in Barcelona, where the Barcelona tournament is held, doing something today, and he congratulated Italy for Jannik Sinner. This is very amusing.
Yeah, man, having the Pope congratulate you is like, yeah, whatever, it's the Pope, but like, yeah, it's great. Having one of the biggest leaders in the world say congratulations, Jannik, for Italy. That's amazing,
Yeah, he didn't congratulate Jannik. He congratulated Italy for producing Jannik.
Congratulations to Italy for producing Jannik Sinner.
Basically.
At the Jannik Sinner, man. I think it's I'm scared to say it's the dawn of a new era. And but someone needs, like, because people kept talking about who's going to take out the three. They're old. You need to take them out. You can't wait for them to just leave, because I feel like that was the problem with the generation in front of Jannik. Tsitsipas, Medvedev, Berrettini, Rublev. They waited for them to leave. I feel like they waited for them to leave. Like, they're gonna leave. Like, they're old. They're just gonna get out of here. You know what I mean? It worked with Roger, because Roger's body shut down. They're like, oh, it's working with Rafa. It's gonna work with Novak. But then the kids right behind them, Sinner, Alcaraz, Runa, they're like, I'm not gonna wait for them to leave. I'm gonna go after them. And they've kind of jumped over Tsitsipas, Rublev, Medvedev, Berrettini. I'll throw in Fritz and Tiafoe in there as well.
Yeah.
And then the ones behind him, you have Alcaraz, Sinner, Runa, Shelton. Those four. They're saying, we're not gonna wait. And
they've definitely done something that the previous generations didn't do, which is just take the game to these legendary players and like, okay, you can play. I want to see if I can play with you and beat you. The other guys were like, oh, I'm just glad that I made it to this match.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Medvedev was the first one to break through and be like, and actually win against one of them. And like, he got the first cut, if you will, if this was a boxing match or whatever. So Medvedev got that, but then these other guys have come up behind him, and they're not scared of Djokovic.
No.
And I think that's the best thing that's happened to tennis in years, is that they're not scared.
No, they're not. Could the crazy thing happen? Could Rafa come back for the French Open, and could one of the young guns take him out?
I think it's entirely possible.
Yeah,
I don't think Rafa's winning a tournament this year.
Yeah, I think his body's done. His body's it's going to kind of be like a pseudo farewell tour.
Which is what everybody thought this year was going to be anyways, is a farewell tour to Rafa. So
yeah. I still cry every time I see that video of them crying together. Because I cry. It's tears of joy though. But I cried watching them cry. Shout out to Roger and Rafa. They should make it. You think they're gonna make a documentary called Roger and Rafa? I feel like they will. Like,
they've already made a fantastic documentary called Strokes of Genius about the Wimbledon 2008 final between Roger and Rafa.
Where can I watch this?
I'll find it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was too busy watching Love Means Zero, the Nick Bollettieri documentary.
It used to be on Tennis Channel Plus. Maybe it's still on there.
So yeah, it's whatever. All right, now, Adelia, let's talk about something that was phenomenal as well. Let's talk about the other side of the bracket, the women's side. We had a tremendous grouping of semifinal matchups. Aryna Sabalenka, the number 2 ranked player in the world, going against the number 4th ranked player in the world, Coco Gauff. And then on the other side is the number 12th ranked player in the world, Qinwen Zhang, defeating Daria Yastremska, the qualifier. Let's talk about the marquee semifinal. We all know what the marquee semifinal was. Let's not beat around the bush. It was 2 versus 4. It was the rematch of the U.S. Open final, and Coco Gauff versus Aryna Sabalenka. Before this matchup happened, Adelia, we made it very clear that we were like, Aryna's gonna win this match, and we were right, because I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I thought to myself that Coco Gauff did not look good in her previous matchup. She did not win that match her opponent lost that match. She was waiting for her opponent to lose it. And that's what it felt like. Yeah. Was it Koscheck? Marta Koscheck.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marta Koscheck, yes. Also, that's how I felt about it. But then I realized myself, like, if she's taking this into the next game against Aryna Sabalenka, who had not lost a single, beat everyone in straight sets, and hadn't lost more than 3 games in a set prior to her match against Coco Gauff, that Coco Gauff is not going to win this match. And then initially, Sabalenka gets on her, and she's taking it to her. But then Coco Gauff rebounds, fights back in the first set. And I just think in this first set that went to a tiebreaker, and the tiebreaker was it wasn't competitive. It was 7-2 Sabalenka. I believe Coco Gauff used too much of her energy to fight back in the first set to then win in the next couple, because then she lost in the second set 6-4, which is more than Aryna Sabalenka has given. It was always 3 or less in her losses in those games. So Coco Gauff did something none of the other girls could do, but she still lost. And Sabalenka was just on a heater, Adelia. It was just like she was destined to win this entire tournament. What did you think?
Yeah, I think when I heard that the bookies had made Coco the favorite after Iga Swiatek had lost, and I was like, have you seen the way Aryna Sabalenka is playing?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Coco is struggling through some of these matches, and Aryna is having absolutely no trouble whatsoever. I'm with you. I thought for sure Aryna was going to win this match. She did win this match. She won this match. It was a little bit more of a grind than her previous matches, but she still won in straight sets. There's not really a ton to say here that you haven't already said. Aryna Sabalenka, I think, was on a mission to live up to the thing that her father wanted, which was for her to win 2 Grand Slams by the time she was 25.
Which she did.
Which she has done now. And I think that she was phenomenal in this tournament. And she was phenomenal in the semifinals. Coco played well in this tournament. Coco's going to come down there and win the Australian Open someday, but it just wasn't to be this year. And I think Coco's got a pretty good chance at the French and Wimbledon and the U.S. Open later this year. So I'm sure we'll see more from Coco this year. But this tournament was all about Aryna Sabalenka.
Yeah, it was grand opening, grand closing. That's what it was. It was grand opening, and like, no offense to the other side of the bracket, and I think a lot of people didn't mean no disrespect to the other side of the bracket, but they were like, whoever wins this match wins the Australian Open. I think that's what a lot of people thought, and that's what happened, because Qinwen Zhang beat Daria Yastremska 6-4, 6-4, and then did anything stand out to you? Did this match, Adelia? Like, was anything
I was pretty sure that Qinwen was going to win this match. Diana Yastremska had battled all the way through qualifying. Diana, all the way through qualifying to get to the semifinals, which is an incredible feat. Nothing should be taken away from her on that. It's just absolutely incredible feat. But Qinwen Zhang is just a better player than Diana Yastremska is, and that showed in the semifinal. And then she's got a bright future ahead of her.
Both of them do. Both of them do, because both of them, we have, I think out of the 4 semifinalists, the oldest was at 25 at Aryna Sabalenka, and like, she's 25. It's not like she's 35. Like, she's 25, but she was the oldest out of the 4. Qinwen was 21. Diana, 23. I think Coco Gauff just turned 20, or is she 19?
She's still 19.
She's still 19. So she's still 19. So like, you have a 19-year-old, you have a 21-year-old, a 23-year-old, and a 25-year-old. So the tennis, women's tennis is bright, and it has a lot of youth. And then we bring up Elena Rybakina, who's 22, 23, I think. I think Swiatek is 23, 24.
Not sure.
And then you have the young the Russian girl, and Mira Andreeva at 16, I think, and then another young Russian girl, Timofeeva, who's 20. So there's those two, and then just I think Ashley Parks of the American is 23, 24.
Alicia Parks.
Alicia Parks is like 23. So there's a lot of youth.
There's a youth movement going on in the women's game. The difference between the women's game and the men's game is that there's no real true established, legend Grand Slam champion to sort of take down now. They're all battling the youth for the place at the top.
Yep.
And Iga has that currently. She still maintains the number 1 ranking even after going out in the 3rd round. Because Aryna couldn't gain any points in this tournament. She could only defend the 2,000 points that she got for winning last year's tournament. Yes. So that's why she didn't jump any higher, closer to. She closed the gap to Iga because Iga obviously lost some points, but she couldn't jump over her. I think that the youth movement in tennis is really, really promising right now because there's a ton of fantastic players. They've been more on display on the women's side because, like I said, there's no legend like Serena out there still trying to, collect Grand Slams and everybody's chasing her down.
Absolutely.
I think that makes it more compelling and more interesting.
You don't know who's going to win.
Exactly. You never know who's going to win.
And,
I would put my money on the French probably being Iga. But other than that, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, man, she loves the clay courts, man. She loves that clay court. And because here's the thing, Adelia, I think the women, there's a lot more parity, right? Like even when Serena was, winning all her majors, right? There was more parity in the victories. You know what I mean? She didn't win everything. She won a lot, but she didn't win everything. But with the men, it was guaranteed. Okay, the French, it was 2 people. It's either Novak or Rafa. You know what I mean? Wimbledon, before Roger's body betrayed him, it was Roger or Novak.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then, then Australian, it was all Novak. It was just all Novak and Roger, whatever. And then, the U.S. Open, the U.S. Open is crazy, so pick your choice. And then you have the occasional Andy Murray Wimbledon victory. Shout out to Andy Murray. But the women, when Serena started to slow down, all hell just broke loose. All hell just broke loose.
There's 2 things that happened with the women's game that have changed the way that the rankings and the competition going on now. One is Serena took a step back and retired, and the second is so did Ash Barty, because Ash Barty was a dominant world number 1, and she was you know what? I've won French Open, I've won Wimbledon, I've won the Australian Open. I want to go have a family now. And she retired, and she has a beautiful son now. Those 2 things have changed. Those 2 things have changed the women's game because Ash Barty basically slipped into that void that had been left of who's going to be the dominant champion. Well, it turned out to be Ash Barty, and then Ash Barty said, "I've had enough," at a very young age. And I think more power to her.
27.
I don't remember how old she was, but something like that, 25, 27, something like that.
She's 27 now. So
she retired at 25 then.
25.
Yeah. So more power to her.
More power
for making that choice. I mean, I think athletes have every right to make that choice. And I mean, her removing herself from the equation opened up a door that Iga stepped into, and Iga's been pretty much the dominant world number 1 since, but the tournaments have been up for anybody.
Literally, let me double check. Because Iga loves the French.
Iga loves the French. She's won it 3 times.
She loves the French. She's a big fan of the French, but she won U.S. Open in 2022. Wimbledon hasn't. She was a quarterfinalist in Wimbledon. She was a semifinalist in Australia, but she hasn't broken through to win, right? So at Wimbledon, you can bet your money on someone not named Iga if you think about it. Think about it. Same thing with Australia, because I don't know why she hasn't broken through like that. It hasn't.
She's made semifinals in Australia, and I think she lost to Danielle Collins that year. The
Ash Barty. Ash Barty
year. The year Ash Barty won the title, but I think Iga lost to Danielle Collins in the semifinals.
Yes, she did. But then that year, she then won the French and then won the U.S. Open that year.
Yeah.
But but then she didn't. But in then 2020, when the first time she won a title was in the French, she didn't win any other tournament, other Grand Slam in 2020.
That was a surprise when she won
Yeah.
the French Open in 2020. That was the weird French Open that was in October because of COVID, and
Yeah.
so like it was after the U.S. Open and all that weird stuff. That was a weird year, but
yeah, but she
Iga
has her
settled in
moments.
as the dominant world number one, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but she has her
let's hit
moments.
that world number one. But like I said, with the tournaments, anything can happen in these tournaments, and we've seen that. I mean, Elena Rybakina went out in the second round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Elena Rybakina won Wimbledon, and no one knew who her name was.
Yeah, no one knew who Elena Rybakina was.
Everyone literally was like, "Oh, Ons Jabeur is gonna beat Elena Rybakina because it's Ons Jabeur." Elena Rybakina was like, "No, no."
And then last year, everyone thought Ons Jabeur was going to win Wimbledon again, and Marketa Vondrousova came out and said, "No, I will."
Yeah, and ripping my heart both times. I'm so sick. I'm so sick for Ons. But yeah, so like literally, Adelia, like when Serena and Ash Barty were like, we're done. Just all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose. And I quite enjoy it. Don't bet on women's tennis because you have no idea what's going to happen.
I wouldn't bet on tennis, period.
That's true. That's a good
yeah,
point.
women's tennis, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say something earlier, but I forgot what I was going to say. But, it is digress. Talking about, parity and women's tennis and all that jazz. So, yeah, like, yeah, what if these youngsters that are coming up, what if they just throw a monkey wrench into everything? Like, what I was talking about, like, when Serena, like, and Ash, when Serena, kind of left, and then, like, Ash Barty was there, but then she became champion. Like, you just had weird people winning Grand Slams. Like, like, I'm not going to call Barbara Krejcikova a weird person. I'm saying, like, she won a French Open. You're like, what, huh? What? Huh?
Yeah, nobody expected that out of her.
What? Yeah, like she's won a French Open. Naomi Osaka has gone through some ups and downs. She also had a baby as well. So there's a long layoff for that. So Naomi Osaka's coming back in. People forget Naomi Osaka. She's not no scrub.
Two-time U.S. Open champion, two-time Australian Open champion.
Yeah.
Former world number one. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot going on with the youth movement on both the men's side and the women's side of the singles game. But before we wrap things up, Fares, I want to talk about the new number one doubles player on the men's side, Mr. Rohan Bopanna, 43 years old. He's finally won a men's double slam. He'd won some mixed double slams, but he'd never won a men's double slam. And he is now the new world number one in men's doubles. Phenomenal effort from Rohan.
Phenomenal. I'm gonna leave you with this. I'm gonna leave you with a quote from my good friend Ryan Christensen. He looked every bit of 43 years old. That
he did. He's got the beard with the gray in it.
Yes. I'm like, yo, man, this dude's gonna pass out on court. I hope not. I hope not.
Come on, Fares.
No, because here's the thing, Adelia. I almost passed out in my living room playing tennis. All right. So imagine a 43-year-old doing it and live.
I mean, slightly different.
Yeah, it is. He's an athlete, and I'm a jabroni. That's true. Did I ever tell you, Adelia, that I am undefeated in my family's tennis league?
Is it Wii tennis?
Hey, all right. Why you gotta say that so derogatory? Like that sounds.
I'm not saying it derogatory. Yeah. I'm just asking if it's Wii tennis.
I think it's Wii. No. I think is it Nintendo tennis?
Well, on the Wii, Wii is a Nintendo.
No, on the Switch. It was a Switch.
Oh, it's a Switch thing. Okay.
It was a Switch. I think it was Wii Sports on the Switch.
Oh, well, see, I don't know.
Wait, Wii Nintendo is Wii's Nintendo, right?
Yes.
So yeah. So it's Wii Sports on the Switch, which is Nintendo, because they just moved their games over. Yeah. So me and my cousin, his name is Ala, what is short for Aladdin or Aladdin, which is funny. Me and him undefeated, beat my cousins, beat my brothers. There's video evidence of me showboating in front of my cousin. I feel like I didn't know this. I don't know if the story was relevant. I just wanted to tell the story. It was tennis related, I guess.
I mean, hey, it's tennis related.
You ever played Wii tennis, Adelia?
I have. I'm terrible at it.
Oh, I'm amazing.
I played real tennis, like on a tennis court with a tennis racket, and I cannot hit a ball.
I did that once
in my life.
I did that once. I want to do it again. I really do. When I go visit my brother, I'm gonna be like, hey man, let's go play some tennis. I'm gonna tell him that.
Yeah.
Let's do some tennis. But yeah, man, and I was Adelia. I was doing the backhands. I was doing the forehands. I was doing I did
Overheads.
overheads. You know, I didn't do a drop shot, man, but I was cooking Adelia. I was cooking. I was like, yeah, backhand. You know what I mean? Shout out to the audio listeners. I was doing the backhand while I was screaming. You know, it was amazing. I just wish someone videotaped they videotaped my celebration of my victory, but they didn't videotape me in the process of winning my victory. You know, it was very upsetting. But I digress. Delia.
Yeah, I have no one to play with, so I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So
One day, me and you will play Wii tennis together. One day.
okay.
Next time we meet up, do you have a Switch, right?
I have a Switch Lite.
Oh.
It's got the controllers attached to it. You don't disengage.
Yeah, no, I don't like
Maybe
that.
Maybe I'll buy an OLED one someday.
I tried to buy an OLED one, but I had to go pick it up from Sacramento. And I was like, I can't do that. Forget that. Yeah. One day I'm gonna buy one because I have a bunch of remotes that I want to use. I have a cool set of remotes. I'll show you later.
Okay.
But enough about the Wii tennis. Real tennis. It was a great tournament.
It was a fantastic tournament. Australia always is a great tournament. It's a great start to the year. Now we're going to launch into some regular tour action for a while. And you and I will be back maybe in March, maybe in May. We'll see.
Yes, we'll see. But Adelia, tell people we can find you.
You can find me on this channel every 3 p.m. Pacific on Tuesdays, starting 11 with my buddy Snark, talking about the English Premier League. We have 20 matches to review on the next episode, so that'll be a long one. And you can find me on the Entertainment Channel, Rewatchers Council, Thursdays, 3 p.m. Pacific, our Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch series, and with Fares on the Open Table, Fridays at 8 p.m. Pacific. And starting this week, a new show here on the Sports Channel, the Scrum Down. Our Six Nations rugby tournament recap show. We're starting out with the Six Nations. I've been watching Six Nations since 2008. I don't think Fares has ever watched the Six Nations before. Nope. So we're going to see how this goes.
Nope. I've never seen it at all. Zip, nada, zilch.
That's Thursdays, 3 p.m. Pacific on the Highlights channel. Links to both channels in the description of this episode.
All right, y'all. I'm just going to tell y'all where y'all can find me, where Adelia hasn't said. You can find me this channel, 3 o'clock Pacific on Highlights channel, this channel. Me and Caleb talk American football. Good friends, better rivals. 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 o'clock Eastern. So get that money up. Let's rock and roll. Our season's almost over. We're now in Super Bowl. We are in Super Bowl weeks. 2 weeks of nonstop Super Bowl coverage, and then on February 11th, we have the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. The Bay Area, that's where I'm from. So yippee not my team, but it's where I'm from. But it is what it is. On that note, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you guys. At the end of the day, guys, the reason we do this stuff, it's twofold. It's firing up a passion in some of us. Like Adelia has a passion for rugby, has a passion for tennis. And you know what? I like to learn. I'm a big fan of learning. I like doing podcasts of stuff I don't know. And I like to learn about stuff. Like, I don't sit here and act like I know tennis. I don't. I've learned some stuff. I know certain stuff, but I don't know overall tennis. And that's what I like about my podcast. Someone who wants to learn, who wants respect, who asks questions, and someone who's willing to show them graceful answers. So that's why I appreciate you, Adelia. Thank you.
Thank you, Fares.
And same thing with the rugby podcast. When I know certain things about rugby. I watched the Rugby World Cup this year. New Zealand got screwed over, but one day I'll get over it. Probably never, but it is what it is. I'm not a Kiwi. I'm just a big All Blacks fan. There's a difference here. But I know certain things. I know what a try is. I know a try is 5 points. I know what a scrum is.
Save this for the Scrum Down, Fares.
Yes, but I want to learn. That's why these podcasts exist on this network. Y'all want to learn. This is a safe space. Safe space for sports. If you don't know a sport, that's fine, man. We're here to learn together.
We
Sorry
are
about
not
that.
experts by any stretch of the imagination.
We're just having
We
fun
just
with
like
it, guys.
talking about it.
We just talking about it. It's like talking about it. But on that note, everybody, instead of talking about it, we're gonna be about it. Have a wonderful day. See y'all next time. Peace. Shout out to all the audio listeners. The Google Podcast, the Spotify Podcast, Apple Podcast,
YouTube
Radio-
Music, because Google Podcast is going away.
YouTube Music, the Radio Republic, Stitcher, Anchor, which is now Spotify for podcasters, as well as the Brazilian Podcasting Network. We appreciate you for listening to us. We thank you. And you know, I've been neglecting you guys. I haven't been shouting you guys out. I'm sorry. And that ends today. So thank you so much for your support. We love you. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace.